Recording is on.
Recording is on.
Welcome back to Face of the Franchise. I am your host, Michael the Pharaoh Shanuti. And with me, as you guys can see, we kind of had a little upgrade this week. There is no little Joe Ooh. He's taking care of some Red Cross thing in Idaho, in Omaha. But I think we upgraded today for sure. I have a couple of my friends from the Whistle podcast, from the DNA Dynasty overall network. Please follow them on Twitter and wherever you get your podcast. Please give them a 5-star review. They have great content, no matter what you're looking for. And I got one of the founders here with me, my good friend, the one that brought me into the DNA Dynasty podcast crew, a Steelers fan in his own right, TJ Blake. How are you doing, TJ?
I'm doing good, Mike. Trying to regain my voice from us turning the ball or having New England turn the ball over 5 times and the Steelers not being able to do anything with it and still almost losing the game. I think we're going to be in for a long weekend this week with Minnesota. We'll see, but, we're going to have to be talking after the game. I always use you as kind of a therapeutical person I can turn to, you and Ty. So it's nice having that Dynasty DNA network.
Absolutely. And then let's be honest, we're going to drink a lot of Guinness this weekend because they're in Ireland. We're going to have to drink a Guinness every time they mess up. And by that time, I hope I'm not awake in the fourth quarter. But I've got to give a shout out to the other man on this Skip podcast right now, the man who represents the NFC North, 3 out of the 4 teams, of course. Chicago, you're not follow him on Twitter and follow him on the DNA Dynasty podcast. Tashara, how are we doing, Tashara?
Busy, man. Trying to keep up with all the news, latest injuries, all that stuff, and keeping things rolling all over on the socials. But I'm doing good. I'm doing well. It was a nice day of work. Weather over here is pretty awesome. Family's doing good, so can't complain at all.
Well, I'm glad. See, he brings the positivity because us Steelers fans, we have no positivity. So I appreciate that. And with positivity comes negativity. So we'll jump right in. Right now, there's a little bit of negativity in what we call the Big Apple. Right now, we have a lot of different changes. So one thing we really want to talk about, and TJ, I'm going to start with you. Now it's Jaxon Dart time. Is this the right move right now for an organization that is trying to figure itself out with its coach, with its GM moving forward? How do you feel about this Jaxon Dart move so quickly? And what do you see in the future for him and, I guess, Daboll?
Well, really, we talked about this a little bit when we did From Whistle to Whistle as well. And, I agreed with what Ty had to say. Like, I don't think it's the right time just based off the matchup, right? Coming in against the Chargers and on the road, I believe that's never a good thing for a young quarterback. This team does not have a lot of structure. I know Bob talks about this a lot. Like, the offensive line is still a problem with this team. We know that Jaxon Dart is a little bit more mobile, so that should help him a little bit more than what we've seen with Russell Wilson, no doubt. But I am concerned, as far as like his overall development, especially this year. I just don't think it's the right time right now. I just think what we're seeing is Joe Sheen, Brian Daboll, knowing that their jobs are really on the line and they have to try to do something, right? Because, look, let's be honest, 0-3, no one wants to be there, but every game you lose, it just gets worse on them. So I think this was a pressure move. They're caving into the pressure. I think if anything, though, they have Jameis Winston, and I'm not saying Jameis Winston's great, but if you want to make a pivot right now, why not give him the first crack at the can and look and go to Dart and say, look, this isn't anything like, it's not saying we don't believe in you. It's just we're trying to protect you and make you what you should be, and you're going to get the next crack if it goes bad after Jameis. So I think that's the way I would have approached it. And if I have Jaxon Dart right now in fantasy or if I'm a Giants fan, look, no doubt, you're excited, but I think that I would have rather waited a little bit longer and seen Jameis Winston come in, and we would have seen what we would have had later.
Honestly, TJ, you laid it out perfectly, especially like you said. We talked about it at Whistle to Whistle. One thing that I think it was Tej who brought it up. He said something about like the success rates of those back-end QBs in the first round, right? Now, a lot of them paying out. I think the latest one is Lamar Jackson, which, that was an anomaly in itself. But I think this is just a desperation move, like you said, for this coaching staff to be like, hey, this is our last shot. But why not go with the guy that brings the fun, Jameis Winston? I don't know. But Tashara, same questions to you. Now it's Jaxon Dart time. How do you feel about this move, and what does this mean for the Giants' future moving forward?
Um, I think I expressed my discontent for it a lot on the whistle to whistle. I think this is more of a job saving, more like career saving move for the head coach and the front office than it is for Jaxon Dart. I mean, I know Ty brought it up on the show too that a lot of quarterbacks in that range that he went for don't really tend to have success outside of a couple, which are Aaron Rodgers and Jordan Love. And look what they both did. They had to sit behind the quarterback in front of them for a few years and develop and get a hold of the system, see what the front office and the coach is looking for, how to run that offense. And I think particularly going up against this Chargers team that is playing hot, that's playing good, that's clicking on all cylinders, I think for his confidence and for his morale, it kind of really puts a stinger in that if this goes south, that could be really a negative impact on his production for the rest of the season if he doesn't get off to a hot start or flashes right away. And I think that I'm hoping this game goes well for Jaxon Dart, but again, with the culture of the Giants and what they've been doing with personnel and players, it just isn't translating correctly, and it's leading to what their record looks like. It's just you have a poor management style, and then you have a poor execution for your team, and that's why you're sitting at 0-3 and having to bench a guy that you spent money on to bring in, two of them, and now they're both on the bench, and you're relying on this rookie to somehow save your season for the team and make a playoff run. I think it's more or less Daboll trying to save his job and keep the butts in seats as far as the front office goes and keep people interested in Giants football, because I saw an interview with Malik Neighbors last year towards the end of the season, and they're asking him questions on like, what is it? What's going on here? What is it? And he vehemently said, it isn't DJ. It isn't the quarterback. And they kept pressing for him. What is it? What's going on? And he's like, it's not the quarterback. So I don't think the quarterback is the issue there. I think it's a cop out by putting Jaxon Dart. And I hate it because I like Jaxon Dart. I want to see him succeed. I just think that you're really just throwing him at the wall into the wolves and not giving him the best chance to succeed. And it could get ugly this weekend, because if I'm Jim Harbaugh and that Chargers defense, I am putting pressure on him. I'm getting a linebacker spy on him so he can't get on the edges and try to create something with his feet and his legs. And I'm just making them try to beat me through the air and taunting them and seeing how talented he really is at throwing the football at this stage in his development in the NFL.
Absolutely.
And that's where I'm at with that. I think I'm just mostly frustrated for him.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, like you said, you laid it out perfectly as well. Like, this is a lot of just saving butts kind of move. We'll see what happens. And you brought up Jim Harbaugh. I don't think Jim Harbaugh is going to take it easy on the kid. If you're in those leagues with the defense that you need to pick up, Chargers was the biggest one to pick up this week, you know. And then you brought up Malik Neighbors. Malik Neighbors said the best way to win is give number one the ball. So as long as he does that, I think that he'll be okay. But I mean, this segues into the next thing. It's like we're 3 weeks into the season, and a couple coaches have hot seats right now. Daboll being one of them. I put McDaniels on here. You guys can give me another coach if you feel like there is another coach that's on the hot seat. But for me personally, I'll just take this one to start. I think it is McDaniels. I think McDaniels has had so much leeway with this team. I mean, look at what happened. This was a high-flying offense. Everybody thought this was going to be a team that to be reckoned with against the Chiefs. The Bills weren't even in the thought. Ravens weren't even the thought, like with the Kansas City Chiefs. Like, and then all of a sudden the wheels have fallen off. Tyreek's probably gone. Who knows what's going to happen with the rest of the staff? I mean, this is bad for the wonder kid, quote unquote, because I mean the guy has lost all juice in that locker room. I think if he loses this week against the Jets, I think he might get fired before Daboll. And if you guys have another coach, like I said, please let me know. So TJ, I kick it off to you. What coach right now in week 3 has the hottest seat to get fired?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely agree with you. I think McDaniels has got to be that guy, right? Because we're just looking at the team history too, right? Like Miami's famous and notorious, so like they're not shy and bashful of firing a coach middle of the season either. Some teams aren't like that. I do think Daboll, this is going to be it for him this year. But Mara and the Giants ownership, unless it's super, super bad, I don't really see them making a move till after the season, right? I think that they will move on. A couple other ones that just you want to honorary mentions. I think Zach Taylor of Cincinnati. I think you got to at least start talking about that, right? I mean, if you're not, I think you're foolish. Jonathan Gannon with the Cardinals, I mean, that's starting to get up in the air a little bit. And we also got to take a look at, I think, a kind of a dark horse one is Raheem Morris down there with the Falcons. I mean, what's going on with Atlanta right now? Everyone thought it was going to be better. I know he kind of just got that job last year, but I'm telling you right now, if that team finishes under 500 and they look as bad as they did last week, that's got to be someone that's going to be a dark horse candidate to maybe get the axe. So I'm looking at them guys, but I do think that with Miami, that's the one. I think that if there's one domino to fall first, I think it's got to be that one.
Well, I appreciate you being on that horse with me because I've been trying to get this guy fired since last year because I can't dig it anymore. Teixeira has been saying sell all your Dolphin stocks, and I mean the Bear stocks. That's more of a hater thing for him, but I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. That offense is terrible. I've been trying to move Waddle and DJ more for a while now, and it's not working. But no, seems like an offense that if you make a change, it could probably grow. And I've talked my disdain for Tua, and I will put it that way. I won't cuss. I won't say things, but it's a different situation. We need to figure that out. But you did bring up two other candidates, Zach Taylor. I think the only reason why I don't have him too much is because they're going to fall in that whole if Joe Burrow was healthy thing. Who knows what would happen? And then Raheem Morris, actually, that was a great one because if he loses to Marcus Mariota this week, who knows what's going to happen? So, Teixeira, your turn. Who's the coach that you feel has the hottest seat going into week 4?
I might just have a personal vendetta this guy, but I think you guys haven't mentioned him. I'm surprised. Brian Callahan of the Tennessee Titans, man. Like if the talent keeps
That's a good one.
Producing there, where Tony Pollard is doing his thing on the ground, Elick Ayomanor keeps developing as Ward's number one target, and Ward starts figuring out this offense and figuring out the NFL and becoming that number one quarterback that he was drafted to be. I think the front office has no other choice but to make a decision. Like, this dude just gave up play calling. Like, why do we have him here still? What is he doing here? How is he benefiting this team? We got the number one draft pick. We got our franchise quarterback. We got him help on the outside with Ayomanor and Gunnar Helm and these other young, talented players with abilities to develop with him and grow together in this offense. And then you have a guy who's just essentially given up on the offense, handed it to somebody else to do. And I think now it just leads to a lack of leadership and a lack of direction to go. And it really is going to hinder Cam Ward's development in this league and really put another obstacle in his way to like carry that franchise. And then fans are going to get frustrated and not want to show up. And then upper management's going to be making excuses all year long until they finally, or their hand is forced to make the decision. And I think this decision should have been made before they drafted Cam Ward, because now you put yourself in this pickle of like, okay, we got our franchise quarterback and our coach is no longer calling plays and he's not calling the defense. What sort of example is he setting there? Because we know Cam Ward's work ethic and his ability and what he's trying to do and establish and change the culture there in Tennessee and really take that upon himself. And you got to help the guy out. And I just don't think Brian Callahan is that dude. I mean, he came from the Cincinnati Bungles and they didn't want him for a reason because he couldn't get the job done. And I don't see him doing that while he's with the Titans. And I think the sooner they get him out of there, and it's not like I want the Titans to lose games just because I want them to lose games. I want them to lose games so that way we can get someone in there that actually cares and is trying and wants to change this team around and not just, settle for their Jeff Fisher 8-8 record or whatever and just get through and collect paychecks. Like, you at the NFL level, you gotta have that fire. You gotta have that Dan Campbell in you to want to win games and do what it takes to put your stamp on things. And if you don't have a coach that can do that and you're relying on your players to do it, it's only going to get you so far. So I think the hottest seat should be the Titans coach because of what is on the line. Like, what's the jet? Because if this doesn't work out, you're setting the franchise back for another 5 years. And that really, really hurts a team like the Titans that's in a division that's right there for the taking. Because any one of those teams that slips up by a few games, they're right back in the hunt and could be trying to get a push for that division at the end of the year. Because we know how competitive those teams are against each other. I mean, they're always wild games. They're always fun to watch and they provide for fantasy. But, at the end of the day, you got to do what's best for the people you invest in, like Cam Ward.
Yeah, and that's the biggest thing, right? Cam Ward, the development of Cam Ward. He is the 101 pick. I don't know how you guys felt about him. in the pre-draft process, but he was a raw talent, right? He made throws that I believe he can do well in this league. But when you have bad development, you get the Daniel Jones story, like going from the Giants to the Vikings to now he's doing well, or Darnold or Baker, And I don't want Cam Ward to be in that situation. I don't want this to start being a thing in the NFL where young quarterbacks get drafted to bad situations, then they have to go to good coaches to get back to where they need to be. And you know what, Teixeira, I mean, you're right. 1 year too long. They drafted this quarterback for the next coaching staff. It felt like the guy, like I said it in the Whistle podcast too. Like the guy gave up his coaching. His only ability was coaching plays, and now what is he? He's nothing. He's a garbage man just standing there. So I just don't understand some moves that some teams make, and this week we're going to see a move come to life. And Teixeira, I'm going to start with you. Micah Parsons, Cowboys, Sunday Night Football. It's going to be the first time since the trade happened. We've heard him and Dak going back and forth. Dak saying he's going to have to put some wheels on to come get me. Micah said it's going to be the hardest sack he's ever going to make. What's your perception of this game? Of the Cowboys haven't looked good at all. Packers just lost a horrendous game to the Browns. But the big story is Parsons against his old team. What's your take on all this?
My take is on this, and I have an ear and an eye to the tundra and what's going on over there, and they are not happy with what went down last Sunday and how it went down. They got a lot of questions and finger pointing at their head coach and the play calling and the bungling of the end of that football game, and they're also jeering about their quarterback and really throwing him under the bus, which he made a justifiably bad play and a big mistake in a crucial time. But you got to think about, like, who else you got there? Like, he's your guy. Believe in him. You guys are just fine. It was one slip up, but being a Lions fan, I know that edge that the North has as far as you put a chip on their shoulder and they're going to punish you for it. And they're going to put the chips all in and make you pay for it. And I think this weekend is going to be the start of that. And I think with how they used Micah Parsons up to this point was very smart. They put him on a snap count. They eased him into this after his injury. They eased him into the defensive play calling, the system, what the coaches want to see from him, what they expect of him in the meetings, and letting him observe and sit back and seeing how that defense operates. And it's like that dog you hear in the neighborhood. You hear it barking and barking and barking on a chain sitting in the yard. And then now you're seeing the owner come out and be like, well, chain's coming off, and you're going to see that dog coming straight for you. And that's going to be Dak Prescott. And he knows that he's going to have a hungry dog on the other end of that side of the yard that's coming after him. And I think it's going to be all hands on deck. They're going to have to double team him, triple team him, because I think Micah Parsons, he isn't petty, but he also has something to prove to Jerry Jones of like, yeah, this is what you missed out on. This is kind of how you screwed up on. And I think that they're going to really make him pay, and they're going to play angry. I think they're going to pound the hell out of the ball, keep it out of Jordan Love's hand in the first half, see how it goes, run tempo, manage the clock, manage possessions. And then if this game gets out of hand, and I can see Jordan Love just slinging that thing all over the place, and it's going to be a repeat of that playoff game we saw from a year ago, and they're going to embarrass them in their own building, and then they're going to be looking up at that box in Jerry World and just throwing their hands up like, you had this coming.
Yep.
You poke the bear, you poke them long enough, and you play stupid games, you get stupid prizes. So
that's the only thing you could say, right? I mean, Jerry Jones, we all know he's stuck in his ways. He's a stubborn owner. This isn't not the first time he's done this. If you guys didn't see the 8-part series on Netflix, go watch it, because it explains why this team hasn't been relevant since the 90s. It's because of him. It's because of his stubbornness and his ability to be like, I'm the star of the show. I'm the reason the Cowboys move, and make zero sense. And let's be honest, if they just paid the guys at the time they're supposed to pay them, it wouldn't get to this point. It wouldn't balloon. You waited until Myles Garrett, TJ Watt, Max Crosby all got their contract. He could have been less than Max Crosby at this time. And now he's going to take it out on them on Sunday night, and I can't wait. So, TJ, what do you believe is about to happen this Sunday night, and what is going to happen to, like Teixeira said, the two junkyard dogs, but really one junkyard dog has something to go after?
Yeah, this is bad if you're a Cowboys fan, right? I mean, like Chicago, we talked about this. It was a game really between the Cowboys and Bears that they both needed to win. If one of them could win it, maybe they could get something jump-started a little bit. and they just got absolutely embarrassed by Chicago, who's had their own problems on offense. And man, it isn't. I'm like Teixeira. I expect a big game out of Jordan Love. I expect a big game out of Josh Jacobs. And look, I know that Green Bay lost to the Browns last week, but I'm telling you, and you know this, Mike. I mean, the AFC North, Cleveland has a really good defense. They really do. And it's early in the season. And this is like, if you have Cleveland on your schedule, this is the worst time to come up against them. Like, you want to play them week 10 or beyond when they're wore out, when the offense hasn't done much, the defense is kind of packing it in, right? Like, that's when you want Cleveland. And I think Green Bay just underestimated them a little bit. They went in there, thought they were going to win the game, and a couple fluky things happened, and there you go. So, I mean, I definitely expect full-heartedly that Green Bay is going to bounce back. And look, and we know that this offensive line for Dallas has had trouble. They really don't. I mean, CeeDee Lamb, why were they using him as a running back? I said that like in the Dynasty DNA group chat. I'm like, that was stupid as stupid could be. Then you lose your best receiver. So now they're down their best receiver. We've seen Pickens already getting frustrated on the sidelines. That could really blow up here at some point. And it ain't good. And I do expect that Micah will get a sack in this game. As far as like how great it's going to be, I'm going to at least say for sure, if I were to bet on that, I would say one sack, I think, goes down for sure. I think he gets one.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you guys both hit the nail on the head. I mean, like this is going to just be disastrous. I mean, we saw it. I mean, the Cowboys defense without Micah Parsons, start everyone in fantasy. Bet the over just because the other team's going to score that many points. And you said it right, TJ. I mean, we as Steelers fans already know George Pickens is frustrated. When you start losing, that guy's going to lose his mind. Now without CeeDee Lamb, we don't know what this offense is going to look like either. And I think they also lost a key lineman too, right? In that game against the Bears. So tee up whatever Micah Parsons is going to give Dak, and man, it's only going to get worse. So for better or for worse, TJ, we're going to go to you first because this is for you. Steelers and Vikings traveled to Ireland this week. More so, you can talk to me about the game, but the international scope of football, right? A lot of this is Roger Goodell's way of growing the game, expanding, seeing all these different things. Do you like the international kind of reach that they're trying to do? And would you be up for what a lot of people think is going to happen? A team in London or Spain or Mexico, one of these NFL seasons, if there is expansion. What do you feel about that?
Well, to be honest, like it's tale of two cities, basically, like the same thing, tale of two parts of me. Like I like it for being a podcaster in the media, kind of like how we are, right? Like it's good because like I see the numbers coming in and there's so many listeners from the UK or from Ireland or Germany. And it's really cool to see that. And it's awesome that we get to share that with them. I mean, their fandom with our fandom. So like from that perspective, I think it's great growing the game that way. You can't deny it. Getting more fans, getting more eyeballs and more popularity on the product only does good for people like us. And I really am glad too that more people get to enjoy the game of football. So that being said, I think that's great. Now, me as a fan, I hate it because here's the thing. The Steelers are terrible when they go overseas. Like they're usually bad on the road anyway. But when they go overseas, it hasn't been good. I haven't ever liked what I've seen with them over there. And then too, like if you're a fan, like this was supposed to be a Steeler home game, right? So they lose a home game. So that's kind of rough on the Steeler fans. So like that's kind of thing. So like when you say like other teams coming in, them possibly getting expansion teams, I'm 100% for that because I want them to enjoy the game too. But I also feel for the fans here in Pittsburgh that lost a home game, right? So like it's kind of like two pieces of me on that. But like overall, it is good for the game. It is exciting. Like this is the first regular season game in Ireland. And I think they will be well received. I know the Steelers got a big following over there. And Minnesota's a team, too, that, you know, globally is pretty popular. The Vikings, right? So I think that it's going to be good from them reasons. But as a fan, it is tough. And, yeah, we'll definitely get into talking about the game here once Teixeira talks about as far as the international scope goes for him. But, yeah, it should be interesting for sure. And then I'm happy for the fans in Ireland. I think that they will get, you know, a pretty decent game overall.
Absolutely. And, yeah, you did it again. So it's like with Rooney, with Mr. Rooney, he was an ambassador to Ireland, like in the Obama administration, and I think this was a big thing to bring the Steelers there. So, DeShera, you're up. What do you feel about the international game and the scope of all this, and potentially maybe having some international teams in the NFL?
Since its incarnation, I've been avidly against it. I don't like it for the players and the player health and for the production of the players when they get to there and they come back. I feel it's like a giant distraction. It's kind of like a setback as far as you see with the production. Those games that we see out there, they're not fascinating games. They're not big games. They're not exciting games. They start off sluggish and slow. There's injuries all over the place and it's very sloppy. And then they come back and you feel like there's a hangover for your team when they get back. They just aren't the same. I think it's just the body of evidence from what I've observed. It's just me as a fan and as a person who studies for football analytics and fantasy football and stuff like that. There's no benefit of it. I don't see it. I think this is just something that they do to make more money and put butts in seats and get fistfuls of cash in their pockets to disperse amongst the owners and everything and just have kickbacks. And I appreciate it for the international fans that want to see their favorite teams and have an opportunity to be there, be able to play. Logistically, I just don't see this as a sustainable move by the NFL because one of two things has to happen. You're either going to have to migrate teams over to the European or wherever you're going to have it and have like a European division, a European league, and then you're going to increase more travel and have more crap. Or you're just going to have to come up with an NFL Europe and an NFL domestically, and then the champions of each one is going to end up playing each other at some point at the end of the year because it's just all that travel and all that just adds up. It's just I haven't seen any benefit from it, like for fantasy wise, for the players and players' health, and I think it's silly and it needs to stop. I think we just need to just focus on the product here, and then maybe do like off-season scrimmages, like for the preseason games or whatever over there when the stakes aren't as high and the whatnot. So because like you said, you're losing a home game. I mean, crap, Steelers fans want to see their team too. And you think, I'm not trying to put us above them or anyways, but like you think you're the ones who pay for the season tickets, you're the ones that are investing in this team. You should be having priority of what, where you and how you get to see your team. But that's neither here and there. But overall, I just hope one day they get it figured out and it just it comes back home because I'm kind of over it. I'm tired of the waking up at 7 o'clock and get everything started and then watching basically a garbage game. Then get it late.
I feel bad for Teixeira because he's in Central Time, and you're right. Like it's even tough for me sometimes being on the East Coast. So, like you're West Coast, that's really bad. So, and then one other thing I want to add: if the NFL really wants to grow the game in Europe, stop sending the Jaguars to the UK.
Oh my gosh!
You are sending the worst. Like you want to put your best foot forward, you're putting one of your worst foot forward.
And they're making like the Vikings stay over there. This is another part of it. To share, you hit the nail on the head with the whole players' health. They're there for another week after this game. They're there for another week. They're going to London. Like it's so crazy because, like, I mean, TJ, you brought up the Jaguars. It's like, man, can we send over at least like the Chiefs and the Ravens one time just so they can see real good football? Like maybe this is going to something, but no, because it's the NFL and Rogers Gazelle's greed for money. And I say this every time on this show. He is the most greedy man in the universe because he knows what he's doing. He's sending the crap teams over there, and they think this is the teams that are good. Like we sent over the Jets and the Vikings last year, and they probably thought the Vikings were the best team in the NFL over there. Like Sam Darnold was Josh Allen to them. Like that's the crazy part. And the worst part is it's like you said, TJ, like let's get into it. I mean, it's the Steelers. Like we are not looking good this year, and they're gonna send us over there to get killed by Carson Wentz. I watched all the talking heads today talking about it. It's like who would you rather have right now, Aaron Rodgers or Carson Wentz? And it was a real debate. Like for me, I was like, I don't know. Like I really don't know. Like Aaron Rodgers is doing okay in a sense of like what we've had, and that's not saying a lot. And that's the problem in our defense as well, So I mean, TJ, go for it. You're my Steeler brother, so let's hear it.
Let it rip.
Let it rip.
Yes. You're right, Mike. I mean, Aaron Rodgers is what we kind of thought it was. Now, I will say he's played a little better than what I thought he would. But I mean, we kind of knew what we were getting into with this. And everyone's talking about Carson Wentz, but like any quarterback with Kevin O'Connell, you can say that, right? Like, but my thing is we're going to get walked by Minnesota. I just know it. I feel it. I see it coming because number one, the receiving talent they have, we can't cover. They're going to be getting Jordan Addison back as well by the looks of things. They also have TJ Hawkinson. We get killed in the middle of the field. I talked about this with Bob on the deep dive here today. I said, if you have TJ Hawkinson and you've been disappointed, start him this week because he'll be just fine. Carson Wentz was looking for him quite a bit. And the middle slot tight end guys kill the Steelers. So that's going to be great. If you have Jordan Mason, you're probably going to have 30 fantasy points this week. You'll probably have 2 touchdowns. You'll probably have 150 yards rushing because, as Mike said, we can't stop the run. I mean, you just can't. We've seen it repeatedly. Ramondre Stevenson was getting yards. If he wouldn't have fumbled, he would have had a really nice day, no doubt about it. That's what really stopped him from having, 20-ish fantasy points. I really believe he could have got there fairly easy. So if he could have did it, Jordan Mason is looking really good to have a good week. And I think he is one of the must plays of the week this week, without a doubt, because I think we're just going to get trashed. And then it's just like this. It's rinse, wash, repeat with the Steelers, Mike. You know this. I mean, it kills me, but you know this. Until they make serious changes with the coaching staff, with the people in the front offices, they got to really make some significant changes. Now, I don't really hate Omar Khan. I think he's done an okay job for what he's had to deal with, but I think that they have to really look at this and say, we got to stop pretending we're something we're not. Let's try to find our way. And we talked about it, build with a young quarterback. Why do we got to keep getting these retread old guys to win 8 games? It's repetitive. It sucks. And now our defense is getting old. And I said to trade them last year, and no one did. So now we're really going to be stuck with a lot of nice high-end contracts. So I'm not liking the Steelers' chances. I'm betting on the Vikings this week, and I'm betting on a lot of their offensive players to have big weeks.
Yeah, man. I'm not benching in Madison in any of my leagues. I'm actually starting him in all my leagues. It's like the prove it to me. Stop him, and then I won't play anybody after that. But I'll let the 3/4 NFC North truther tell me more about the Vikings. So go ahead, Shara. What do you feel
about
this game?
Oh man,
Dublin, Ireland.
There's one of 2 ways it's going to go because, like you said, Vikings are in overseas for 2 weeks. They're either going to play conservative, run the ball down your guys' throats because they know that they can expose that run defense and then save Carson Wentz and his arm for the second game overseas. Or this is just going to be a fireworks, huck it, chuck it, Carson Wentz versus Aaron Rodgers show, and then they're going to advertise and showcase TJ Hawkinson and Jordan Addison and get Justin Jefferson fed and get his confidence up because he's feeling lowly and left out, and his fantasy production's been low. But I've been beating that drum since this offseason. It's the Jordan Mason show. I mean, it pains me that my guy had to, take an injury to get down for that to happen and get out of his way. But he's taking that bull by the horns and literally running with it. I understand, yes, it was the Bengals last week, but we can all agree the Bengals defense is poor. So if it ain't broke, don't fix it. The Vikings should be doing the same sort of recipe or formula against that Steelers, and especially if they're able to get a lead on them, and the Steelers aren't threatening them with putting offense on the board. I think that defense put on a clinic this weekend against the Bengals, and who knows, maybe they're all burnt out. They blew their load on the Bengals, and did all they could to punch them in the mouth, and doing that flight overseas. Who knows? That's just the crazy part of because I can see this game going the Steelers' way too. I can see the Vikings getting off the plane and just being absolutely jet lagged and bummed and not having their legs underneath them and just being like, oh well, we got next week in London, we'll figure it out. I mean, anything could happen, but I think that if especially after this week, if you don't get Jordan Mason now, your buying window is going to be gone, long gone.
Yep.
And especially for Jordan Addison too, because him and TJ Hawkinson could have a heater. So if you're attempting to try to buy low on either of those guys for either depth or start and fill in, the prices might get more expensive after they come back overseas if they stack a couple of good performances.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think we're all singing the same tune, right? It's don't break if it's not broke, don't fix it. Start with Mason. I hope to God the Steelers stop it. Probably won't. I'll probably be drunk by night and like by 10 o'clock. Yeah, it's gonna be bad.
It'll be bad,
It's
and
gonna be
it's unfortunate. We need to make some changes, Mike. I keep saying it to Wiz. Hopefully, someone listening somewhere decides to do something soon.
I just need Omar Khan to just do the inevitable and just fire Mike Tomlin. Like that's it. I know you and me are on that boat. It's bad, but I guess we could. I don't know. I don't want to talk anymore about this team. I really.
I think if they could just, by the trade deadline, invest in a couple offensive line pieces, maybe bring in a veteran running back that is on its way out in another organization to have something going for next year, and just having Caleb Johnson just sit behind them for a year because we realize that project isn't working out this year. I think if they had the offensive line and the running game to supplement their offense and a competent Arthur Smith, that it would take the pressure off of Aaron Rodgers thinking he has to throw and be the 20-year-old of him his old and be a showman and try to save the game by throwing it all the time. I think by having a lack of running ability, it really puts a lot of pressure on those quarterbacks, especially the veteran ones, to just play hero ball and try to save a franchise that if they just had an offensive line and a solid running game, it probably wouldn't look as ugly. But like that's what's compounding the fact is there's getting pressure on the quarterback. The Steelers aren't protecting the pass and they're letting the run just get bottled up, and there's lack of explosive plays. I don't know where they rank this year as far as explosive plays, but when I'm watching their games, I don't really see any like big aha breaking like games. It's more of just like struggling just to get down the field and get in the end zone and just having a sigh of relief at the end of it, being like, oh God, we got 6 points. Let's just hope our defense just, holds the fort so we can try to do the same thing over again.
That's what the benefit is of having Arthur Smith as your offensive coordinator, 4 tight ends, and a 41-year-old quarterback, right, Mike?
Yep, and that's all we need to do. We're gonna just throw spaghetti at a wall and watch it roll down and hope everything's good. But and enough of that. Let's do game of the week. And let's do games of the week. So I'll start it off with my game of the week. My game of the week is the Eagles and the Rams from this past weekend. Guys, what the happened? That's exactly what I said every time I was looking at the score, because at some point it was like 26-3, and I was like, okay, this game is pretty much over. Next thing you know, the good old Eagles, they can do whatever they want. They show up, throw the ball. They got AJ Brown involved. For all you AJ Brown haters, there he is. There he is. I told everybody who ever drafted AJ Brown and Devontae Smith this was going to happen. When they want to throw the ball, they would throw the ball. And guess who showed up? Jalen Hurts, the defense. But really what happened also was Sean McVay played not to lose. And that's the problem. Like, I was like, dude, why are you playing not to lose? This is a good team. Go out there and do your thing. Like, throw the ball, get to Puka Nacua, which they did, but get to the goal line and score. Don't go for field goals. Don't hope for a game-winning field goal. And guess what happened? That shit got blocked. And then next thing you know, we see one of the greatest comebacks already. There's a video surfacing. I don't know if you guys saw Jared Verse on the sideline saying, "I'm going to say so many explicitives at everybody because we're going to win." And then the block happened, and he put his mouthpiece in. He was speechless, and I was like, I could not believe what I watched. That was probably one of the greatest comebacks I've ever seen. But it also proves one thing: Rams are not ready to take on the Eagles if they play like that. And the Eagles are still the toast of the town in the NFC. Yes, the first 2 games we're going to just win the game and that's it. And that's what they showed, is that they can just win the game by being dirty or by being flashy. And that's the crazy part. And to their credit, to the Rams, they stopped Saquon, which also helped the passing game. But still, I really loved what I saw from the Eagles and coming back, and even from the Rams, even though they did it that first half, they looked like the high-flying offense we saw. So I'm going to throw it over to you, TJ. What was your game of the week from this past week?
Well, I was looking at a couple, and I'm going to leave the Lions and Ravens for Teixeira because I know he wants to talk
You can have
about.
them. That's not my game of the week. You
Oh,
can
you're
you
not-
could take them.
okay, I figured you want to talk
I
about him.
was
So let's.
the same
Well, I would
way.
love to, and I could melt that glacier for a day and a half talking about my Lions, but I'll
Being
just
the
keep
Ravens
that one a nice food.
I want to hear this guy because F the Ravens. Fuck the Ravens. It's my show. Fuck the Ravens.
So let me say this. A lot of people, and look, I'm not saying Baltimore ain't a bad football team, but they have a way of losing games still, just kind of like the Steelers do. Now they're way a step ahead of the Steelers. Don't hear what I'm not saying right now, but they lose these big games from time to time. And what's going on with Derrick Henry with these fumbles? Unbelievable. I mean, the king is about as sure-handed could be. If I had to trust someone with my life carrying the ball coming into the season, if I had to pick one guy, it would have been Derrick Henry. So 3 fumbles in 3 games is surprising. Give the Lions a lot of credit, though. And, I've been saying it. I mean, I was the only one to pick them in the DNA morning show in the Discord. I figured that they could hang in there and they could win this game. And I'm going to tell you what, Teixeira mentioned it. It is very hard when you lose both of your coordinators. And I really liked what I seen out of the Detroit offensive coordinator, utilizing his guys, getting creative, and being able to run the ball with manly blows. Because if you're going to beat Baltimore, that's how you do it. They went into the alley and they won the fight. And I love what I seen. And Detroit's for real, guys. And, I picked Detroit Buffalo. And if you remember last year on the Dynasty DNA pre-show, I picked the Eagles and Chiefs. So I was 1-0 last year, hoping to go 2-0 this year. Teixeira would be through the moon. But I'll tell you one thing. These running backs for Detroit, fantasy football, you have to love having them because it don't get much better than that. So I love what I seen. Lions are still the Lions. I think everyone after that first week against Green Bay was really ready to panic and panic hard, but that was a division game and it's tough sledding. But I liked what I seen, and now Baltimore's in a must-win against the Chiefs this week, man. It's a must-win for both of those teams being 1-2.
Isn't that the craziest part? That the Super Bowl favorites, basically, we were like the winner of Chiefs Ravens or Chiefs Bills Ravens. That's the Super Bowl favorite. And we keep forgetting and we keep talking about it. And TJ, you brought it up. That game against the Packers, we were ready to douse the Lions and say, that's it. Ben Johnson was the
Well, I heard it all.
Oh, I to share.
I heard it all. I got my receipts. You best believe it.
He's gonna
I'm
come
gonna
out
audit the shit out of everyone at the end of the year.
And what did they do? They took it out on Ben Johnson the week after. Then they showed it again against the Ravens that they do have a defense. They do have an offense. That the NFC still has 2 powerhouses in Philly and Detroit. And who knows? I mean, we might be watching another one tonight. The Seahawks might be a sneaky team. But
ooh, is Slim listening?
So Slim, I know you're at the game. If they beat the crap out of the Cardinals, I know it's not a big measuring stick, but hey, 3-1. But to share, what's your game of the week this week from last week? What did you like to watch on TV?
I was blown away by the roller coaster ending of that Jets Buccaneers game. That was my game of the week. Just watching the resilience of that Bucs team and Baker Mayfield just cooking. Like, you can take Mike Evans out of the game, you can take things away from him, but that dude, give him his flowers and give him his respect. He finds ways to win games, and he just doesn't care who he mows down in the process. He is just a gamer, and I love that about him. And it's just so funny to watch the Browns just with their tail between their legs and their head in their hands, watching them get up on a quarterback like him. It's fantastic just to see what that Buccaneers team, because I thought I like, oh, the Jets got their first win. This is screwing up my pick'em. This sucks, but like, it just wilds in the special teams. Like, what's going on with this year? Blocked field goals up the wazoo, penalties all over the place, fumbling. It's just, I don't know. Just get together. And I think that the Buccaneers, they showed me a lot against what they did with the Jets. I think the Jets did too. They have some teeth. They have some fire with them. They have some passion. As much as that offense struggles from time to time, that defense is keeping them in games, and it's holding as best they can. And once that offense starts clicking and Brees gets going and Garrett Wilson gets going, and hopefully when Fields get back and their schedule gets a little bit lighter, they can string some wins together and right the ship and get going again. That's my hope. And I like their leadership they brought in there coming from the Detroit Lions. I think they have the track record that they can get this done. It's probably just going to take more time than it did with the Lions. It's just going to be a stacked year process. And in a society and an age where we crave instant gratification, instant success, I think it's just going to take a little bit more time with the Jets in that conference to be playoff relevant and playoff bound. They got a lot of holes to fix and a lot of bridges to mend and like things to work on in order to get there. And I think they're on a good start by what they brought in the offseason. And for the Buccaneers, I think they're a threat to make a splash and be a dark horse in this NFC too. I think they can play with anybody and go anywhere and beat anyone, because when you got a quarterback like Baker Mayfield, and I can't express enough how impressed I am with Emeka Egbuka. I was too low on him in the process coming out, and like him and Judkins, man, like what did we miss? Like these guys, yeah, Q is RB1 for you. Let's get that on a t-shirt. I swear, because like those two guys, especially Egbuka though, like you have Mike Evans you're playing with, you have Chris Godwin. I mean, granted, him and McMillan were hurt, but like you have all the pieces you want, like the coaching staff to like fit in and be the place for your best development. And that Bucks game, I want to see more of those. Like that defense, I think is still a little suspect, but that offense, like they're doing, like you can tell they're a little bit of a version now, which is kind of worrisome for Bucky Irving owners with the Rashad White, Bucky Irving thing. But you can see that they're trying to emulate this Detroit Lions play style of having two running backs in the game and working around and try to both be impact players. And they both kind of have, the similar like mindset. They have a quarterback that, mobile when they have to be, but they're slinging it all over the place and they have all the confidence in the world right now. And the Buccaneers are a team I'm afraid for anybody going forward playing them on any given Sunday because of how badly they can punch you in the mouth and how willingly they are to like take a punch themselves and stay in these games.
Right. And I believe that too, Tashara. And I named some couple of teams that run the NFC. Tampa Bay's up there. I mean, I think we really forget about them because their whole division is a dumpster fire, and I think that's the biggest thing is like they have, if I can do math, 6 easy wins. 6 easy wins. but and that's where I'm going to start is the dumpster fire game of the week because the Falcons and the Panthers. Holy what? Are we kidding?
Ooh.
Are we kidding? Like Penix, man. I knew you weren't going to be this immaculate quarterback, right? I even said in that draft you were the 4th best quarterback. I'm still not sold on JJ McCarthy. I was never sold on him. But I was like, no offense to Sharon. That was just because I'm not.
No, you're all good. You're all good.
I just the whole Michigan thing is not my thing. So it's just crazy. Like he can't get the ball to alpha wide receivers like London. He can't get the ball to a switchblade like Kyle Pitts. But I guess nobody can to do that. But Bijan Robinson is the only guy you can start week to week from that offense now in fantasy football in confidence. And I'm just like, dude, this is why you brought up Raheem Morris, TJ, because this team didn't look like it had a chance on defense, didn't have a chance on offense. They made Bryce Young look good again. They made me believe in Bryce Young for a minute. I was like, hold on, wait a minute. Maybe this is just a team that stinks and I don't know what's going on. I mean, like, they brought in Kirk Cousins for the last couple of seconds of the game, quarter. And I'm like, that's how you know how bad this is because they even asked Raheem Morris, is Michael going to start next week? And he said, oh, yeah, for sure. That's like, man, we're already asking this question. In week 3, we're asking this question. Should he be the starter? And it's crazy. And I'm just very enamored by now what does the Falcons do if they do lose to Marcus Mariota? Because I completely forgot about it until you said it, TJ. And I was like, oh, my goodness. Like, do I sell my London stocks? Like, what do I do here? Like, this is crazy. I don't know. I'm not in any way, shape, or form in on the Atlanta Falcons or the Carolina Panthers. Good for the Panthers for winning that game. But, man, moving forward, we'll see. So I'm going to start with you, Tashara, first. What was your dumpster fire game of the week this week?
I'm gonna just please ask that we don't put the Cardinals and the 49ers on TV again,
Love
at
it.
least for a while, because I watch that out of hate because I'm just trying to do my fantasy analysis and my game film review and stuff. And the whole time I'm just like, can the clock hit triple zeros? There's nothing I'm impressed with here. There's not like both these teams are a disappointment. I mean, we didn't exactly have high hopes on the 49ers coming into this year. I know they had injuries and they had all these question marks, but my gosh, how many more excuses are they going to get as far as like the people keep trying to keep them in their top 10 in their power rankings? They're trying to keep them as one of the top tier teams in the NFC. And I think that window is closed and gone, and they're not there anymore. There's something missing. I mean, granted, you can't fault them entirely because of the injuries, but like they got the coaching staff, they got the front office, they got the ownership group to keep this ship go, but they're just so snake bitten and just unlucky, and it looks bad. Like Christian McCaffrey was the only saving grace that of watching that game as far as the offensive side. And like, I think, I see a lot of things with the Cardinals that I do with the Titans, and you can see how vastly different those two teams are. But I think they need to like uproot and totally gut what they got going on there and strip it to the studs, because I don't think this Kyler Murray experience is going to work out for them all the way through of him getting them to the playoffs and taking this team somewhere. And I think it's causing frustration in the passing game or the receiving game. And for those running back, like, I just think that it's just, the system is changing. They want to throw the ball to Marvin Harrison Jr. and Trey McBride. But so many times I just see Kyler Murray just take it to himself and scramble and just try to make a play out of nothing, which is great. It's amazing for fantasy and it holds value there. But for like watching the football game, and half the time he's just going to do what he did. I'm kind of over it. I'm out. Like, I want to see something new with the Cardinals. And I hate to see that Marvin Harrison Jr. is just rotting away, because I think the talent's still there. I think the ability is still there. But like, I hate to have for him to like get this George Pickens mentality of just being checked out in between the ears and just not engaged and making, as you can see, silly drops and mistakes that's costing your team games. Like, it just overall, that entire game was just a hot mess in the NFC West. And I just feel bad for anyone who chose to stick around and watch that show live, because these two teams are just not fun to watch.
Yeah, so I in my basement I have 3 TVs and I have YouTube Sunday Ticket, and I put that game on right on top because my fiance does a Survivor pool, and she wanted to watch that game, and I was like, man, this is on the big screen. I can't turn this off. Like, I was like, oh my god. I was like, please, babe, let's put something else. She ended up was like, I think she won, but I was like, what is happening? But
was it worth it? Did you ask that question? Like, was that worth it?
worth it for her. She doesn't know what bad football looks like because she was integrated as a
Oh man,
we integrated as a Steelers fan in 2023 when we first met. So unfortunately for her,
yeah.
she's used to bad football. So TJ, what was your bad dumpster fire of the week? If it's the Steelers, please.
No.
No, I won't go there. We already touched on the Steelers enough. I got to touch on these two teams, and they made Big Bob's culture shock last week. It's a good thing that they have nice weather in their states, because they definitely don't have nice football. It's the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Houston Texans.
Ooh.
My God, was that an exhibition of bad football if I've ever seen one? Was it a bad exhibition of quarterback play? Trevor Lawrence looks like hot garbage. CJ Stroud looks like the Texans took him down 3 pegs. I mean, it's just terrible what kind of protection they were giving him. I had the Texans to win that game in a parlay, and they had it won. Nico Collins fumbles the ball, and Jacksonville gets it back. And they went down and kick a field goal, 17-10. I mean, very rarely do you see NFL games with that kind of scoring anymore. Sure, you might see one team struggle and the other team just kick the shit out of the other team. But this was not good, man. It was not good. And I don't like the future outlooks for both of these teams. And look, I mean, we kind of laughed at the Colts situation. Some of us did at the start of the season. Like, man, they're going to win this division. I mean, I'm just telling you, right, unless something catastrophically happens to injure some of their players, they're going to cruise to a division victory. No doubt. I mean, they just look like they're on a whole nother stratosphere compared to these other three teams. So very bad. And God forbid, we get to see it one more time. So it can only get worse.
I can't wait, man. I can't wait because the only time Nico Collins seems like he shows up is against the Jaguars. And as the guy with a little bit of stocks in him, he's the one. So, guys, great picks for Dumpster Fire pick of the week because you two definitely brought the two that I was thinking about. So if it wasn't for Michael Penix, those two were probably right there behind it, besides the Steelers and the Patriots. But that's another story. So, and to the segment we all love, fantasy football. So, guys, what we do is we just give everybody our starts of the week, our don't starts, and our sleeping beauty. So, I'll go first. My start of the week, hold your breath, big culture Bob, is Ashton Genty. Ashton Genty this week is going off. I wonder why. Can you tell me who they're playing, Teixeira? Can you tell me who they're playing? Your favorite team, the Bears. So it's the
Oh boy.
So
Oh boy.
so the Bears, and I hope this is a get right game for Genty. We saw Hampton get his. We saw Judkins get his. Even Scadaboo get his. Why not the number one running back in that class? So my do not start of the week. Everybody's really on him. Everybody loves what he did against the Steelers, but he's not going to do it again. Hunter Henry, I know he was the darling tight end this week. I don't know if he's going to go for 2 touchdowns again. He's not going to do that every week. So please be wary about what he's going to do in this offense moving forward. And my sleeping beauty of this week, everybody went to get him on the waiver wire. I think he's a good play. Trey Tucker, again, the Chicago Bears. If I have a Raider, I'm starting them unless it's Geno Smith. Trey Tucker on that defense without their starting corners is a defense I'm targeting and somebody that I would love to start, especially after his performance against the Commanders. So I'll move it to you, TJ, as the founder of our lovely network. Who's your start of the week, your don't start, and your sleeping beauty?
My start of the week is Bo Nix going up against the lowly Cincinnati Bengals defense. Like, if you have him right now and it's questionable in a one quarterback league, I am firing up any fantasy asset against Cincinnati after what we've seen Carson Wentz and the Minnesota Vikings were able to do to them. So, I mean, if I have J.K. Dobbins, any of them, but give me Bo Nix. I think he's going to have a great week. Denver's at home, as Mike likes to say. Sean Payton likes to display him. He's going to get a great chance to do that this week. No doubt about it. As far as my don't do it of the week, how about this? Don't do any New Orleans Saints going up against the Buffalo Bills. If you have any of them guys, it ain't going to be pretty. I mean, I know some people like to stream Jawan Johnson. I guess if that's the worst, it gets okay, but I am not feeling good about any Saints offensive assets going up against Buffalo. I think your only hope is Buffalo beats them 55 to like 7 or 14 where they get some garbage time stuff, but I am not going anywhere near Saints assets at all. Sleeping Beauty, and we mainly are a dynasty show, so this is tougher for us because there's always not a lot of people on waivers, right? But like, if you had to go with somebody this week, give me Mac Jones going up against the Jaguars, because I'm going to tell you right now, I do think that the 49ers will have enough to get him to at least the 20-point plateau against a team like Jacksonville. It isn't good. I know 49ers have their injury issues, but they still have CMC. They still have Ricky Pearsall. They have some guys that can make some plays, and Jacksonville's just hot garbage right now. So that's who I'm going with this week, Mike.
I love it, TJ. You gave us 2 quarterbacks after some quarterback sneaky weeks this week, and you got to believe that Bo Nix will turn it around. He was only a couple shots away from having a good week last week. So in a bad Cincy offense, he might do it. So Teixeira, who is your start of the week, don't start of the week, and Sleeping Beauty?
My start of the week is a running back, and I'm going to go with James Cook out of Buffalo. I think that that game is going to be murder on TV, and I think that Josh Allen is going to hand the ball off a lot, and I think I can see a multi-touchdown game coming from James Cook, and it's indoors. I believe it's in New Orleans, so weather isn't going to be a factor, and I think they'll have that game in hand, and I like the way that James Cook has been running. Like, I've been really watching his film and his replay, and he's really developed into the next tier of running backs, I believe. And I think he can have a top 5 season because his vision is so much better. His patience is so much better. And his acceleration I think whatever workout he was doing this offseason, it's helped him so much, because once he hits those holes, he's been hard to catch, and he's been close to gone, which he struggled with that last year. Like, he had all the opportunity in the world, but like for some reason he wasn't seeing things right, and he wasn't taking advantage, and therefore Josh Allen was able to vulture a lot of touchdowns for him and finish drives because he wasn't able to punch it into the end zone. And that's not the case this year. I think James Cook, he got that bag, but like some people, they play with a little weight behind him and a little sluggishness. He's playing with another level of motivation that I'm impressed by, and I didn't see it last year. And I think this is wheels up for him in this game. And I think it's going to be a cautionary tale for those passing assets if you have them in Buffalo. Like, I just think tread with caution with Shakir and Coleman and Kincaid. That I think volume and opportunity is going to be the biggest factor of what caps their ceiling. And I think you'll be fine starting Josh Allen because, he's got the mobility and the legs to be able to counterbalance any lack of passing volume he has. But I think you just want to pick on bad defenses and bad teams, and the guy that's going to get the volume and the carries and the opportunities for scores. And I believe I'm confident that James Cook is my start of the week.
Mm-hmm. All right. And your don't start and your sleeping beauty.
My don't start is Dak Prescott. I think that this is going to be one of those trap games where it's like, oh, they're back home. They're going to play with fire. They're going to play with energy. But what I saw of him on the sidelines after that Bears game was not what I want to see in a leader and a quarterback and someone who actually cares about the football team and the situation, to be laughing and smiling and joking around with just a bunch of carefree attitude. I don't like that. It doesn't give me good vibes. And then the compound that you're going up against a team that got embarrassed and got caught with their pants down to a team that they should have beat. I don't think they let that happen twice. And I think Matt LaFleur is going to have those guys down there in a mission being like, we're not scared of Javonte Williams. Let's have Dak beat us. He lost his best weapon in CeeDee Lamb. Pickens is frustrated if he doesn't get the ball, and if they force feed him, we'll double cover him and force him to beat us with Jake Ferguson. And if they can't stretch the ball down the field and get close to the red zone, he's pretty much going to be irrelevant. I think it's going to be one of those games where Dak's going to be scrambling for his life, and it has the opportunity for a multi-interception game because he's going to be making mistakes and playing with hesitation and bad judgment. And it's just going to be one of those Dak games that it's not looking good, and I'm confidently pivoting from him in lineups, even in one quarterback leagues, and definitely in Superflex. If I have better options, I'm going that route because I don't want to mess around with the fire that the Packers are bringing down to Dallas and Jerry World. Like, this is gonna, and in prime time, I think this can go really bad because I don't know Dak's record in prime time, but I've seen more than once that him pumpkin hard.
Absolutely. And then your sleeper, one sleeper.
My sleeper is a 1 week sleeper. That's why it's really much a sleeper, because there's a man coming. He's coming to take that sheriff in town badge. And I think that this is the 1 week. This is the last week you're going to be able to do it before he comes back in a couple weeks. It's Tyquan Thornton. I think they're going to expose that Ravens secondary that the Lions did last week and the Browns did in week 2 and the Bills did in week 1. And I think Patrick Mahomes needs all the help he can get. And what he's going to do is try to expose them deep. And we saw with Tyquan Thornton against the Giants, he's got that big ball ability. I don't know why he was on the out in New England, because the way what I saw from him in that Sunday night game was impressive. I mean, to drop the first touchdown pass from Mahomes, but to get the confidence from your quarterback and a guy like Patrick Mahomes to, hey, come back to me, and they do the same play back to him, and he redeems himself and scores a touchdown. I think he's a dangerous sleeper this week. All eyes are going to be on Kelsey and the Hollywood Brown and what Patrick Mahomes is doing. And I think that Tyquan Thornton has got potential of hitting a double-digit ceiling for this week and could really help you in your flex spots if you're looking for that as a pivot in these games, because there's something off with the Ravens defense, and that secondary is not doing what is advertised at the beginning of the year, thinking bringing in Jair Alexander, having Nate Wiggins, and bringing in Malachi Starks, thinking it's going to be a lockdown, shutdown secondary, and it's all but proven to be not. So
right.
I think you guys should keep him on your radars. As far as Dynasty goes, I don't know if he's still available in places, but in redraft, if you're looking for a break glass guy, just a shock, some sort of guy to flip your matchups if you need some sort of high ceiling upside, that he's a guy that I wouldn't be spending a bunch of fab on, because like I said, I think this is a max 2 week, but mainly just this week kind of guy to do because my boy Rashid Rice is coming to town and he's going to start cooking here. And then Thornton will be irrelevant once again.
I love it. I love it, Teixeira. That's a great sleeper. And I loved your start of the week. James Cook, he's been amazing. And we got to keep starting him, especially against the Saints. It's probably going to only be for 2 quarters, and then at halftime they're going to take their heads off. But it's a good segue into our gambling corner. This is the corner where we hope to make you some money. But, at the same time, it's all for fun. Why not? So we're going to give our over-unders, our spread, and our dog pick of the week. Dog pile of shit is basically what Joey always says, but that's why we call it a dog pick. But my over under this week is the Eagles and the Buccaneers. I am going over the 43.5. 2 great offenses, defenses, that will let them score. I know Mike Evans is not on the Bucs side, but they are getting Chris Godwin back, so it's a good weapon to have. My spread of this week that I really do love, it is the Patriots 5.5 to cover it. They are favored against the Panthers. I don't think what happened with the Falcons predicts that the Panthers are good now. I think the Patriots they could have killed us by 30 points, TJ. So I think we're a little bit better than the Panthers. So if they don't fumble the football, they should be okay. And my dog pick of the week, hold your breath. He's coming back. Justin Fields. I think I'm going to take the Jets money line on Monday night with the other Monday night game. I think I'm going to go with Bo Nix passing yards. So that's a good parlay if you wanted to parlay that. But the Jets money line, for some reason, Miami's favored. I think it's just because it's in Miami and they kind of gave the Bills a run for their money. But I do like the Jets with Justin Fields. And Teixeira said it in his game of the week. Let's see a little bit more from that. So, TJ, give me your over-under of the week, the spread, and the dog pick.
Okay, so over under the week, give me over 49.5 points with the Rams and Colts. I think that they're going to get there. I think that I'm going to take the over there. The Colts ain't getting a lot of respect. I know this is a tough test for them, but I do think that the Rams are going to move the ball well, definitely get their points. I'm not worried about the Rams. I know the Colts are the only questionable thing here. But look, even if the Rams get 28, and I think they're definitely capable against this Colts defense, I think the Colts can get you the rest of the way there. So I think I'm going to go there for that one. And as far as spread of the week goes, you know what? There's a couple tough ones here that I like. I think that I'm going to go with Ravens -2.5 against the Kansas City Chiefs. I talked about it. I've been talking about it with Baltimore. I'm just not, this is going to be a close game, so I think I'm going to go with that one in that aspect. I think it could go either way, but I think that I'm going to take the chance and go that route. And as far as the dog pile of the week, as far as like the bad one, this is interesting to me. The Texans are favored 7.5 points against the Tennessee Titans. I will take the Titans to go ahead and dismantle that. Give me, because we talked about it with the Jacksonville and with Houston. It was bad. I don't know what people see in Houston. I know it ain't good in Tennessee, but this is a division game. I think that the Titans can definitely take care of business and get you what you need there. So I'm feeling froggy on that one. And as far as, like Mike said, if you want to build some parlays, I'm definitely looking at Green Bay. I'm definitely looking at Denver. Give me some of them guys as far as yards, catches. I'm going to build a lot with them guys on prime time because, we're going to see a lot of action, I think, against a couple really bad defenses in Dallas and with Cincinnati. So
Absolutely. I loved all those picks because those picks are on my card already. So I'm with that. Start building those parlays right now. And guys, with the DNA podcast, DNA Dynasty podcast, we do talk about our bets. Please follow them, like, download, and subscribe. We need to just put out that right there. So Teixeira, what are your picks to get the people some money this week? The over-under spread and the hot steaming pile of dog shit pick of the week.
I'm not good at this because I'm just looking at it now, but I think I'm gonna. Yeah, I think my spread of the week is I'll take the Lions and the Browns. I think I'm reading this right. I think the Lions at home are -9.
Yep.
I don't understand these two. I'm trying to understand this language, but like I'm confident that the Lions will take care of the spread. They'll win at home and take care of the Browns and on to the next week. I think playing at home really helps, and I think that with that crowd having that energy and that hype and that momentum coming from that Ravens game, I think that's going to help them out a lot to really squander any hope for the Browns. I think the over/under. I'm going to take the over on the Chargers and the Giants game. I think the Chargers can run up the score here on the Giants and really take advantage of being on the field a lot more if Jaxon Dart and that Giants offense struggles. So I'm going to go that route and just good team taking care of a bad team and doing it there. And then my dumpster dive game, I think I'm going to go with the Jaguars and the 49ers. Like that is oof to football. I'm going to say, like, I don't know if I want to touch any pieces on offense or defense on either of those teams. And I just kind of want to avoid it from like a betting or fantasy perspective, because I think it's going to be nasty.
Oh, so you're saying Jacksonville has a chance to share. You're saying,
yeah. After what I saw, if the Cardinals have a chance to beat the Niners, I mean, shit, I think the Jags have a fighting chance too.
I just want to let everybody know. I just got a message. 49ers coach Kyle Shanahan says Brock Purdy's progression towards returning on Sunday. I think the toe is feeling better each and every day. He continues to look good for Sunday. Does that change your pick at all?
Oh, absolutely not. Because I just think change it. I think it's just bad all around. Like, can we get Brian Thomas Jr. the ball, give him in the end zone, get that man cooking?
Nope, because Shane Waldron is there, and I hate that man. I do not like him. I hate him.
We need to see we need a new T-shirt. When he started coming into the league, Shane Waldron ruining offenses since X, whatever the date was.
I got to figure it out.
Man, yeah, 0 days since last incident.
Whatever he's teaching to these wide receivers, man, it's terrible. I mean, we've all seen the clip of JSN when he was talking about Shane Waldron. He couldn't talk about him. But when he got the new offensive coordinator in Kubiak, he was all for it. So, but boys, I know we're getting close to time because the game is about to be on. This is on Thursday. I do appreciate you coming on, filling in the spots, and being our guest stars. We'll have you guys again, obviously. Follow all of us at the DNA Dynasty Networks on Twitter, on YouTube, wherever you get your podcast. Please subscribe to their channels. Please. You are subscribing to my channel now. I'm part of this team. They have a bunch of stuff. Teixeira does a lot of deep dives. TJ is the greatest host on all these different podcasts. Please come see us and follow all those personalities, as well as obviously the Four Corners Network. We're all here together. We're all trying to give you a little bit of a soundbite for our football, whether it's fantasy, whether it's real life, or anything in between. So thank you guys again to Teixeira and TJ. Follow them on Twitter, please, and follow their stuff. I'm telling you, you're missing out if you don't. So once again, from the Four Corners Radio and the DNA Dynasty podcast, stay breezy, stay easy, and enjoy the football.
Have a good night.